Hello everyone, this is Elmo, and I am gonna start a gameplay series on Elden Ring. This is going to be full gameplay, so we are gonna be looking to find every spot in the game, pick up every item in the game, smack every boss in the game, and so on and so forth. We're gonna take this journey one small step at a time. These episodes are probably gonna be somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes because I am gonna take it slow since I just started with the whole stream idea. I am gonna take my time to figure stuff out. There's probably gonna be stuff to do with the hardware and all that good stuff. But yeah, without further ado, let's give this a shot. One more thing, I haven't actually decided how rather would I actually play this, like what type of build am I going to do, what type of weapons I'm going to use. To be fair, with the weapons I am planning on experimenting as much as I can with the weapons, right? So we are going to be embarking on this journey together when it comes to builds, weapons, and spells and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, to be quite fair, I have given it thought of what am I going to play, but I decided that I'm going to make it a spur of the moment decision and kind of just go from there, right? Okay, so I'm going to check one more thing and see if we are good to go. Okay, perfect. Just check something. Sound related, so I am gonna have to lower the sound so it doesn't overlap with me too much. So I'm gonna test this out. I am gonna keep the sound effects and the voice a bit higher, just so we can experience the actual gameplay stuff a bit more. And okay, let me see how this sounds right now, and hopefully we are gonna be good to go. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, I am playing the game at the moment. I have a couple of new playthroughs that I'm doing currently. Yeah, the game is that fun, and the replayability is just, it's great. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna have to delete one of the saves I have. Just give me a second, please. Okay, I think this should be fine. Awesome. So, as the title of the video says, here we go. Okay, so like I said, I haven't given it any thought about the build and stuff like that. Give me just a second. I think there's some like echo. Okay, should be good. Yeah, so I haven't given it much thought. Like, to be fair, if that's really the case, like, the wretch would be an optimal way to go because that is, like, an actual blank slate. But I am actually going to go over the classes briefly. Also, worth mentioning, these are the starting classes, right? Like, for example, if you were to choose something like, I don't know, a vagabond or warrior, you don't necessarily have to end up as a vagabond or a warrior, for example. You can start as a warrior, and then, like, mid gameplay, you can be a mage or like a priest, prophet kind of thing, right? So this is just something that you're gonna be started off with, right? So nothing is set in stone in this game, and you're gonna see while into the game. Sorry, just getting my coffee fix here. So you're gonna see there's even gonna be a point in time at which we might even have to, not have to, but if we wish to like respec completely. There's gonna be an NPC that's gonna allow us to reset our stats completely, even change our appearance and so on and so forth. But more on that later. Okay, so let's see. We got the Vagabond. So this is like your standard knight slash bulky tanky character, right? So you're gonna be starting with a lot of vigor and strength and a decent amount of dexterity. So the stats here are as follows, right? So you have vigor, that's your HP, as well as fire resistance. You have your mind, which is your FP, also known as mana, if you're playing any other RPGs. Endurance is the stamina. Strength is obviously strength, but the difference here between strength and dexterity is strength is great. It's heavy weapons and large weapons scale much better with strength, whereas dexterity scaling weapons are like, I'm gonna use quotation marks, air quotes, complicated, interesting weapons, right? Faster weapons, right? Smaller but faster weapons. They are both giving you damage. It's just the difference between what kind of weapon you're actually going to use. Also, when you two-hand the weapon, your strength stat is being considered. But more on that later when we actually see some weapons that we can't wield, that will lack the strength, and so on and so forth. But yeah, strength and dexterity, those are the two stats. You have intelligence, obviously. This is going to be your spellcasting potency. You have faith, so you have sorceries, spells, and you have incantations. The difference is sorceries are mostly offensive, whereas incantations can be offensive and support type abilities, right? Uh, Both of these, so similar to strength and dexterity, intelligence and faith work in a similar way. Intelligence boosts sorceries, faith boosts incantations. And you got your arcane in the bottom. That's gonna be, I mean, there's gonna be some rare items slash weapons that are gonna be scaling with arcane. But besides that, the main attribute behind arcane is item discovery. So the chance that a random enemy in the game will drop something or drop additional items or loot when you kill it, right? So now that we got stats out of the way, so yeah, you have Vagabond. This is like the classic bulky knight kind of character. You got the warrior. He starts with high dexterity, so this is going to be focusing on like those smaller, more complicated weapons. You got the hero, which has a decent vigor, starting point, and strength as well. So hero is kind of like So one would assume that warrior should have stats like hero. I mean, in my opinion, that's when I first loaded the game. That's one of my first thoughts, right? So this one is high dexterity, this one is high strength. So you have also the bandit. So the gimmick with the bandit is that they start with a very high amount of arcane. So you're gonna see, for example, you got, for example, on the vagabond you got 7. Here you got 9. Here you got 11. Here you got 9, 10. So 10, 11 is like most in on average 10, 9, 10 is going to be your starting point with arcane, but bandit is going to start with 14, and that's kind of the bandit gimmick. Like, they are going to have an extra bit of discovery that's going to help you loot more items in the start that could probably help you out. So that could be some gear pieces, ammo, weapons, and so on and so forth. You got the astrologer, so this is going to be your mage, right? So as you can see, there's a high intelligence start here. The prophet, same, but with faith. So this is your incantation empowered character. You got the samurai. He's kind of a bit of everywhere with so the difference between a samurai, you notice high dexterity here, and with the warrior as well. So the difference is the one lacking point in dexterity is kind of replaced by 1 or 2 points everywhere else up above, like vigor, mind, endurance, and so on and so forth, right? So this is a bit more like overall starting build, whereas the warrior goes full on dexterity, right? And warrior also starts, yeah, warrior starts at a level lower, so level 8, right? Also with samurai you got the bow and some arrows, which is kind of like the bandit, which is very good for start, especially if you're just starting with the game, because a ranged weapon like a bow or a crossbow or something similar is gonna help you pull enemies from groups one at a time, right? So if you're struggling with the game, or if you're just generally new with the game and want to take it slow and extra cautious, like throwing items and throwing weapons and projectile weapons are going to be your best friend, right? Next, you got the prisoner. So prisoner, you can notice that prisoners have high dexterity and high intelligence, right? So this is a hybrid dexterity intelligence start. If you want to have like a battle mage kind of thing, here. Confessor, same thing, but with faith instead of dexterity. Confessor playstyle, in my opinion, is very cool. I like it a lot. Like, you're actually gonna see, we're actually gonna go through each item description, each piece of lore, hint, message, and so on and so forth. We are gonna be discovering a lot of the lore. I myself do not have an entire grasp of the lore just yet. Not even close, I can say. So the lore expedition that we're going to be going on is going to be something that we're going to be going on together, both you and I, whoever is watching this video, with me playing it. And of course you got the wretch. So the wretch, this is like your classic I hate myself build, starting class. So you start at level 1, you get 10 points in each stat, and you start with a club. And so this is the other, it's not Grace Mimic, I can't remember what it's called. So this is going to be teleporting you to the nearest bonfire if you're a Souls player, but you're going to sacrifice all of your souls, or you're going to see runes in this game. The currency is going to be runes, right? So you start with technically nothing but a club. Okay, so decision time. So I'm going to take into account that there's going to be some new players here as well. For the seasoned players who are looking to, I don't know, follow this gameplay and maybe find some hidden places or just try something new, right? You guys generally won't have a problem with the gameplay, probably. I mean, not completely. There are going to be places and boss fights and areas at which even the most seasoned Souls player is going to like feel like in hell. That I can promise you, but I am gonna actually try to make this a bit more beginner friendly. So with that in mind, I am thinking either samurai or probably maybe hero, right? So the reason I'm not choosing, actually, I could choose vagabond. The reason I originally doubted with vagabond is because of the fact that all of these classes, except the wretch, are gonna be starting in medium load, right? So as soon as you start playing the game, you're gonna be in medium load with your equipment. You're not gonna be fat rolling. Wretch is gonna be in light load, obviously, because the only thing they have is the club, right? But Vagabond actually starts with heavy load, and you're gonna notice because, as you can see in the starting items below, you got one sword, you got one halberd, and one shield, right? And you can see the gear is kind of chunky as well, right? So you're gonna be starting in heavy load. I'm gonna choose the Vagabond for two reasons. One, it might be probably easy to start with a Vagabond, and the second reason is I've never started with a Vagabond, so this is gonna be a bit of a new thing. So for the character customization, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, because like, let's take a look. Take a look. You have altar, face, and hair. So all of this is just for the head, and you got all of this for the body. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff. So I am gonna actually let me see, where are the templates? Okay, so load favorites. Okay, so we are gonna let's be mature, right? Let's be a seasoned warrior. We're gonna be dying a lot and getting hit a lot, so these voice samples are kind of accurate. Let's go with mature voice too. Okay, and we're gonna load favorite. I'm actually gonna load one of these. Okay, let's take this bad boy. So the only thing we're gonna do is we're gonna change it to mature. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna see his body in most cases, like the face also rarely, but just for the sake of it, we are gonna set it up as such. So for the name, let's see. Let's choose something like the naming is also a difficult part. Okay, so I'm gonna go with a bit of World of Warcraft reference, and I'm gonna name him Tyrion because of the leader of the Alliance. And I don't know, sounds kind of cool. Okay, so with that in mind, let's begin our journey through the lands between. We're gonna finish the character creation, and we're gonna go through the cutscene.
is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome Dung-Eater, and Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing. And one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between. To stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
Okay, awesome. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I am excited. I am super excited, guys, to play this game once again and to stream it as well. I am gonna also try to uh, investigate, explore a bit. I'm gonna see if I'm actually gonna do the streams or I'm actually gonna do some recordings and then I'll upload them. I will, with any of the decisions in mind, I will try not to do anything off screen, off stream or recording, just so if anyone wants to follow along with me, you guys can do that with as least with the least amount of difference between your gameplay and mine. Obviously, we're not going to be getting exactly the same results. We're going to have RNGs. I'm gonna die sometimes where you one-shot the boss. You're gonna die when I one-shot the boss. But most of the gameplay, I will try to make it look the same as you guys. So I'm not gonna be doing anything off-screen, right? Also, I am playing on multiplayer mode. I'll be playing like that for the time being, in case I find it to be, in any case, not helpful, or if it becomes a distraction, I might just go offline as well. But for the time being, I'm playing online. That's why I can see these messages below, right? So here we are. We spawn in this breaking down church-like thing. This looks like a church, right? I believe that's an altar of some sorts. Okay, so if you press your touchpad on the on your controller, you're going to be able to access the map. We are, however, fresh into this new world, Lands Between, and we don't have anything discovered yet, so just a little something. We are going to be getting map fragments throughout the game, so you are going to have a map laid out for you, so don't worry about that, right? So here we go. As soon as you start off, you are going to be in this church, and you're going to notice this blue item shining in front of you, the tarnished wizened finger. Let's take a look. So this is going to be in the inventory. So this is what I mentioned with the character creation. So memory of grace, that's what it's called, right? So you return to the last site of lost grace that you found. So the last bonfire you lit if you played Dark Souls, or lamp you lit if you played Bloodborne. But you're going to lose all runes, right? So the memory of first grace, which once guided bygone tarnished to the lands between. Lose all runes and return to last site of grace visited. It is merely a cycle. Stand before the Elden Ring, become the Elden Lord. So you notice this sentence a lot, this phrase a lot in the game. You will, furthermore so. That's going to be your first hint as to what your objective is in this game. You have to become the Elden Lord. You have to find the Elden Ring that has been shattered, like you saw in the cutscene, and you need to find it and claim your place as the Elden Lord. And this is the item we just picked up, the Tarnished Wizened Finger. So this is an item for online play, as you can see. So like you've seen right now, so all of these messages that you see, you use this item to write these messages. So if you're playing on multiplayer, you just go to messages. You're going to see here a little tip. I'm going to let you read this on your own. But you can write messages, right? If you press triangle, you can change the format. You can write simple messages with gestures, conjuncted messages, so kind of two phrases paired with conjunction, and you can add a gesture there as well, right? So let's take a look for the description. So used to write messages. Your messages will be conveyed to other worlds, allowing other players to read them. A finger of corpse wax, so emaciated the bone is visible. It is a relic of those who came before, left to help those who would come after, right? So this is going to be your tool to help your fellow hunters. And unlike all of these other messages, this is actually an in-game message, a developer message. And if you open it, it says, though the path be broken and uncertain, claim your place as Elden Lord. So like I just said, this is going to be a phrase that's going to be mentioned to you a lot. This is going to be our first hint as to what you have to do in the game. So if you take a look around, there's not much you can see here. There's no items to pick up here, right? So the only place that you can actually go is through these doors. So we're going to go ahead and open them. And here we are. We go outside and we are in for a sight. So we were right, this is a chapel. It's called Chapel of Anticipation, right? So this is going to be the tutorial area. You're going to get some developer messages for the controls, right? They're going to tell you how to control your character in the basic manners, and you're going to get a more detailed tutorial later on in just a little bit, right? So all of these are breakables. Break them, you can roll into them. Yeah, there you have it. So the thing I mentioned in the character creation screen, all of the, you notice how I'm rolling kind of heavily. It's a small and tough roll, so to say. So that's because we are in heavy load. Let me actually, no, not control, explanation. There we are. So you can see this stat, so to say here, equipment load. So this is like the total weight of equipment. So this means the gear that you're wearing at the moment, and the weapons that you have equipped at the very moment, right? So all of this, if you have too much stuff on you, you're going to be in heavy load, and you're going to be fat rolling, so to say. So let me show you an example, right? So if we are, for example, removing this halberd, we have switched to medium load, and check out our rolls now. We're much more agile and flexible, right? So okay, while we're here, let's take a look at the gear that we have, right? So you have the longsword, a straight sword with a double-edged blade. In addition to its reliable standard damage, this weapon also boasts powerful piercing attacks, a superbly balanced armament. So we also start with halberd as well. So the long-handled polearm that combines the functions of both axe and spear can be used to press a single enemy with continuous thrusting attacks or swept at groups, taking advantage of its great reach and cleaving blade, a versatile weapon for any situation. This is very good. I'm actually going to be seeing how am I going to use this, which of these weapons am I going to use consistently. I won't be using both of them at the same time, right, or having them equipped because of obvious reasons. We are in heavy load. And you got the heater shield, the medium-sized metal shield, comparatively easy to handle. Metal shields reliably negate physical damage when guarding, a trait which made them highly trusted on the battlefield. So you notice it says physical damage because there's different types of damages in this game. We're actually going to go into more detail regarding that throughout the game, just not to bombard everyone with a bunch of information. So we went there. There's nothing there. So as you can see here, there's a door, but you might have guessed it. The door is blocked shut. Sorry. I can't speak. So this door is going to open later in the game, maybe even sooner, depending on how you do with the part that's ahead of us right there. So you can see there's like an archway into like a plateau of some sorts. Like in any Souls games, this one is no exception as well. In the starting area, you're going to be fighting a boss, and it's going to be pretty broken compared to you at the moment. It's gonna polarize you. I have tried many times to beat the boss from this point, from the starting point. I have not succeeded it. You can do it. It definitely is doable. There are a couple of guys that did it. One of the guys who has a channel called LP Dark Souls HD, great guy by the way, very good, very fun guy, and he also does full walkthroughs like this with full commentaries. A lot of the stuff I actually learned from him as well. For example, he has, so to say, tutorial or strategy or approach how to actually defeat this boss. He went with the Confessor in his walkthrough, which is much easier, especially for this boss, because Confessor, like we said in the character creation menu, is kind of like a hybrid between like a warrior dexterity build and incantations. And since incantations have supportive as well as offensive capabilities, you start with a heal incantation. So even if you take a hit and you make a couple of mistakes, you can kind of recover from it. The heal does not do a lot. The heal does not heal a lot, but it's like a lower version of heal, but it can help in certain situations and if done well. So there's no items here. I'm just walking like around, showing you the place, what it looks like, what the area looks like. But there's actually no items here at all, right? There's nothing. There's just you can walk around, you can try that door, which is blocked shut, and you can go here, which is the only place you can go. So before I enter, we're gonna talk a bit of lore. So this person you saw here, like the statue of this person rather, that you saw here, or are you seeing here, is similar or rather the same as the person you saw in the introduction cutscene. So this is Queen Marika's statue, right? You're greeted with her statue, and you can see the fog gate there, which means you cannot actually move through there until you defeat the boss. So the way you spawn the boss is just move to the center and there you go, right? So like I said, you are gonna be like 99% you're gonna die to this boss, and that's fine. That's programmed that way from software developers, right? You're supposed to die. This Souls game, like I said, is no different than any other Souls games. I am gonna give it a try, right? I'm gonna be like super careful. So what you want to do with this boss is kind of like have not too big but not too small of a range. And always keep your shield up. Especially this is a good shield because it blocks 100% of physical damage, right? And this guy does physical damage at the moment, so it's gonna block all of that. So once you see that attack, you can give him a slap and then go back. So this is his shriek. It's gonna reduce your stamina if you're blocking, and I think it actually does some damage if you're in melee range and not blocking, right? So you gotta be careful. So we're gonna let him swing a couple of times, let him do his stuff. We're waiting for an opening, and we're gonna try to chip at him just a little bit at a time and see if we can actually kill him. So yeah, you gotta be careful with this boss. I mean, not because it's a tough boss, it's not actually a tough boss. You can beat it quite easily later on in the game, but for the current moment of your character stats and gear, he is very tough. You're like 2 hits and you're gonna be dead. So that's why we're extra careful. But it's also a good practice to actually like practice this sort of safe behavior, because there are going to be bosses that are going to be hard. For example, I overdid it here and got clear by life. As you can see, with two little swipes and I'm almost out. One more hit and I'm going to be dead. So yeah, in any case, let's give this a shot. Always keep your shield up. Wait for him to stop swinging. So this is kind of the attack that's easiest to predict and to follow up with an attack on. So that's kind of what I need to be looking out for. This one you can do a counter attack as well, but it's going to be a bit harder because he's not giving you a lot of space to work with, right? And the moment you drop your guard, he's gonna be counter-attacking as well, right? So the name of the boss is Grafted Scion. The grafted being the operative word here, right? So we are gonna find an area where this grafting is of significance. There's gonna be a first major boss of the game, which follows this philosophy. But more on that in the future. Oh shit. Oh, look at this. We're like barely alive at this point. We cannot let him breathe on us or we're dead. So if you want to kill this boss, especially at this stage of the game, you gotta be patient. Like, you can't do that. I am very patient. There we go. And I died. So yeah, this is what's supposed to happen to... This is how the game is designed. Like, if you actually kill the boss actually drops an item. You can pick it up, but you're still gonna have to die. That's how the game was coded, especially this first part. So yeah, there's gonna be another cutscene, so I'm gonna let you guys watch it, and then I'll join back.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on his side. We found him here, after all. One of his kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. even if it does violate the Golden Order.
So this is the part of the game where you wake up and you're actually where you're supposed to be at the start of the game. So I'm not gonna spoil too much, but the person you just saw in the cutscene, it's not gonna be. It's probably yes, it's the first time you see her, but it's definitely not gonna be the last time. So when we spawn, we get a flask of Crimson Tears and a flask of Cerulean Tears. So these are gonna be your replenishment items, respectfully. So let's take a look. Oh no, I actually removed it. I'm gonna do it like this. Okay, so Flask of Crimson Tears, a sacred flask modeled after a golden holy chalice that was once graced by a tear of blessing. Filled with crimson tears, this flask restores HP with use. Rest at a site of grace to replenish. The one washed up on the gravesite was sure to die until this flask offered its gift of rejuvenation to seek the Elden Ring. So, from a gameplay perspective, this is going to be your healing item. This is going to be your Estus flask in comparison to Dark Souls, or Blood Vials in comparison to Bloodborne. And the reason we're actually not dead, one of the reasons we're not actually dead, is because we were given this flask right here to restore our health and be healthy again to carry on with our mission to seek the Elden Ring. There's going to be another reason why dying is not possible, but that's going to be a lower standpoint and it's going to be much further in the game until we figure that out, so I'm going to keep that one for later. And you have the Flask of Cerulean Tears. This is going to be for replenishment of your mana, or FP in this case. So the thing you see here, just a second. So HP, your health points obviously, and FP, this is going to be your mana. I called in this game focus points, right? So you start with 3 health flasks and 1 mana flask. And we are dropped in this cave, right? So if you go behind, there's not much you're going to be finding behind. And there's going to be an item there, as you can see, but we're going to pick it up a bit later in the game. There's going to be another way to reach that item and to drop back into this cave, but don't worry. Like I said in the beginning, I am going to try to make sure that we find every item, every hidden area, every hidden boss, every optional objective, all the quest lines. I'm still trying to catch up on all of the quest lines that are in the game, but I've done a significant amount of them so far, and I'm also playing on a couple of different save games to try and catch all of them. So hopefully as this series goes along, I'm going to be finding out more and more, so I may encapsulate everything into this 100% gameplay series. Okay, so as you can see, all of these are player messages, and this is going to be a developer message. It says the cave of knowledge lies below, so they probably mean yeah, you can see it means right down there. So we're going to talk to this spirit real quick, see what he has to say to us. Brave Tarnished, take the plunge of learning and remembrance. Recall the arts of war in your warrior's blood. So he is kind of another hint telling us to take the plunge. So you may be tempted to jump right down here, but you're going to see a cliff here. So if you jump from this point, you're going to lose a bit of health. But if you jump onto this cliff and then down, you're not going to lose any health. So that's what we're going to do. We don't want to lose any health unnecessarily. So you can see here, this is the part that I mentioned earlier. This is the part where you're actually going to get more developer messages on the controls of the game and how to use some of the mechanics in the game. So I'm going to let you guys read this, either pausing the video or in your own gameplay. I'm just going to pass through them. So this is going to be your bonfire, a site of grace. You're going to rest here. Your flasks, you can use them. And if you use all of them and you rest at a grace, you will replenish all of the flasks that you currently have to the maximum. We currently have 3, but we're going to be able to get more in the future. Also, one more thing I actually forgot completely in the character creation screen, you can actually choose gift some starting item that you can start with. I didn't go over them, sadly. I kind of got too excited with starting this series, but I will go over them eventually. I'll just explain them to you, what to start with, what's optimal, what's useful in the start, what's useful later in the game. We actually, if you guys followed through completely, you probably did choose keepsake as well. So we're gonna be going without a keepsake for this, but that's not a problem. This is like a starting helpful item. It's not something that's detrimental to the game in any case. You're not losing out on anything in the game if you go without a keepsake. So this is gonna be our first enemy. They're pretty easy. So this is kind of the actual tutorial area, so to say. We're just gonna plow through them real quickly. So yeah, this is gonna be the gameplay mechanics, all of that good stuff, right? So yeah, you can dodge. I'm gonna show all of these mechanics throughout the game. I'm just gonna let you guys read if you haven't played this game before. You're gonna have this guy on the top. Just all you have to do is just press circle on your controller. If it's on PS4, not sure what it's for Xbox, and you're gonna be running. So we picked up some items. This is gonna be our crafting material. You're gonna pick up a lot of items in the game, some of them being crafting material, and you can use them to craft a lot of stuff. We're gonna go into that into a bit more detail as we go through the game. When we deal with this soldier, we're gonna look at what we picked up. So the easiest way to deal with these soldiers is with a counterattack. So as soon as you block an enemy attack, you push R2, and it's gonna be a counterattack that's gonna stagger the enemy and leaving them open to you for a critical attack. You're gonna see me do this a lot as well. It's just the easiest way to deal with enemies. It's not gonna always be the case. It's not always going to be helpful, but for the most cases, for these I'm gonna say common enemies, that's how you no, he actually survived. Okay, we're just gonna jump down and deal with him. We're not gonna be taking any fall damage, so that's nice. We actually came from there, I think. No, yeah, actually we have to go this way. So yeah, this is going to be the perfect time to check into our inventory. So this is going to be the crafting material. We picked up the Rova fruit. It's bear-like red fruits that grow in shrubs, material used for crafting items. Easily found everywhere in the lands between, it has a wide variety of uses. Right, so we are going to be learning how to craft in a little bit. And then I'm going to show you what this does. This Rova fruit can be used to craft multiple things. And I'm going to showcase all of that as we go through the game. So we're just going to go across this bridge that we fought the archer on. Sorry, my throat is kind of drying up. I'm still kind of trying to get used to the fact that I'm talking and streaming, so you might hear me coughing a bit, so I apologize for that. So, crouching. Unlike other Souls games, I think none of the Souls games had this mechanic before. In other Souls games, you just kind of like mildly push the analog stick and you would walk, and that will kind of count as sneaking. But here you actually have crouching. It's the optimal way of sneaking if you want to like a stealthy gameplay style. So the enemies are not going to hear you, mostly. There are going to be some creatures that can hear you. Those are probably going to be beasts. Beasts usually have super hearing, just like in real life, so it's going to be a bit harder to sneak up on them. But for example, if that enemy was looking into me and I was here, he would not have noticed me. So you can use the tall grass in the world to help you conceal yourself. Okay, so we're just gonna, if you use jump attacks, obviously. Poise is still a thing in this Souls game, just like any other. And if you break the enemy's poise, it's another way for you to open the enemy up for a critical attack. So this is going to be something Elden Ring specific, this statue that you see here. This is the Stake of America. So when you die, you respawn at the last site of grace that you touched, right? So you do have to interact it. You don't have to rest at it, but as soon as you touch it, interact with it, it's going to be marked as your checkpoint, and that's going to be your last spawning point. However, if there's a stake of America nearby, and you die near it, upon dying, you're going to be given an option to either go to the last site of grace you visited or to resurrect at one of these statues. As you can see, below the stamina bar, you can see the icon of the Stake of America, like on the top left screen. As long as it's displayed, it means you are in the vicinity of the Stake of America, and it is an option to resurrect there. So we're gonna go into this boss room. So this is it's not as scary as it looks, right? So it's presented as a boss, but this is gonna be one of the common enemies at the start of the game, and it has the health pool of all of the standard enemies in the game. So it's just presented as a boss just to give you an idea. Since this is a tutorial area, it's going to give you an idea of how the boss fights look like, and the mechanics of the boss fight, for example, the fog gate and so on and so forth. So nothing special here, just keep your shield up, counter-attack him, and you're going to have him for a critical attack, just eliminate him. I did take a hit there, I kind of was too greedy, I didn't wait for his second swing to do the counter-attack, but that's okay. And there you have it. This is going to be the tutorial area. I very much love how they've done the tutorial area. It's very comprehensive. It doesn't just tell you the controls, it actually tells you the game mechanics that you're actually going to want to use in the game. And it's very helpful to seasoned Souls players as well as new players in the game. So this is our reward. We're gonna pick up an emote called Strength, and if you remember, there's the ghost we talked to. So we jumped down there, we went through the cave, and we ended up here. So that's gonna be pretty much it. So one more thing I wanted to point out: this tree, I mean, baby tree, sprout of a tree, so to say. It kind of sticks out in this area. I think the developers have done it in a way that it captures your attention for a bit, because we are going to be seeing these small baby trees throughout the game, and they're going to usually mean that there's a very valuable item under them. So I think that's kind of what they had in mind. Maybe not, I'm not sure. But yeah. And you're going to just want to go through these doors because there's nothing else in the cave. We explored everything. We went back there, went through the cave, so the only thing we have left is to go through the doors. And we are now officially outside of the tutorial area, and we're entering the real world. And this is going to be our first real world race. Okay, let's just go ahead and rest at it so we can just refill our HP. As you can see, there's not a lot of stuff to do at the moment. You can pass time. There's parts of the day. This is not just for show, because there are certain enemies that spawn at night as opposed to at morning, noon, or afternoon. So it's not just for show. Like, there's going to be certain enemies that spawn, and you're going to want to have night. It's not just, it's status effects as well. So a lot of things changes, a lot of things change in the Nightfall, and we're gonna explore everything throughout the game. Then you go to flasks. You can add a charged flask. I mean, you can't at this moment because it says use one golden seed. So you need an item called golden seed. That's gonna, you use it to add a charge to your flasks, right? This is one of the starting gifts, by the way, the keepsakes that you could have picked up. You could have started with one golden seed, and then you could upgrade your flasks immediately. This is also another similar item. So Sacred Tear, this is not one of the starting gifts, however, but it is an item required to increase the potency of your flask. So how much your HP or FP is replenished by the flasks, and you can allocate charges, right? So we started with 3 health flasks and 1 mana flask. You can change them. You can go full health, you can go full mana, you can switch it up any way you see fit. I'm going to actually keep 3 health and 1 mana flask just in case we actually might use some skills or some items that consume FP. And you have spells here. So this is how you memorize. You, for example, you start with 2 slots for. So this is both for sorceries and incantations as well. You can have a bunch of them, but currently active, you go to a site of grace and you allocate to 2 of them. These slots are going to increase throughout the game, but you start with 2. And obviously you have the chest, so you can put things in your chest so they don't clamp up your inventory. And let's talk about the fog gate. So you're going to see this fog gate that you cannot interact with like this in any case. It's preventing you to get in. Why? Because if you see a white fog gate, that means you're also going to see this little statue of imps. So what you need to do with this, so like you said, it says use stone sword key. You need an item called stone sword key to put into the heads of these imps, and it actually, as you can see and could have guessed, acts as a key and opens up this gate. We don't have any stone sword keys at the moment. We're gonna get them. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna clear this place up as well. But for the time being, let's just move on. We have another item here for multiplayer. So Finger Severer and Tarnished Furled Finger. Let's take a look. Okay, so we have the Severer. So, like I said, an item for online play. Use as a host of fingers to select a summoned player and send them back to their world. Use when you have been summoned to another player's world to return to your own world. This phantom blade severs the link formed by a furled finger, but the maidens scorn those who abuse its use. So I kind of went in the wrong direction. I should have probably talked about the tarnished furled finger first, but what this does is if you are being summoned by another player, you can use this item and leave their world. Also, if you summon another player, you use this item and you send the player back to their world. And the tarnished furled finger creates a summon sign for cooperative multiplayer. Arrive as a cooperator, or a furled finger, with the objective of defeating the area boss of the world to which you were summoned. A finger of corpse wax, furled like a hook. It is a relic of those who came before, left to help those who would come after. So yeah, you use this item to create a summon sign, and you can be summoned by other players who see a gold summon sign created by this finger, and you can help them in their worlds. And besides that, there's nothing else. Like, you can break these pots, but there's nothing here. And the only place for us to go is forward. We're gonna enter this room, and you're gonna see an elevator right here. And not much to do here. Also, you can break the pots, but none of the items are actually gonna be hiding anything. So you just go ahead and take the elevator. Push you up here, so all of these are going to be the player messages, and also nothing here. Boss as well, but no items unfortunately. And we have this door, so we're going to open it. And welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, to Limgrave. Look at this place. This is massive, right? So this is just the starting area right here, and you can already like take a glimpse of it to kind of soak it up. Look at this place. It stretches so pretty much, to my knowledge, let me see, another tree, that's it. I think that all of this that you see right here, like all of this the eye can see. Let me just inspect that area right there. So yeah, 95% of the things that you see just now are the starting area, called Limgrave, like you just saw. So as you can see, the game is massive, the world is open world, and it's just beautiful. Like, the design of the game is just astounding for me, and I appreciate it greatly. There's gonna be a big road ahead of us. There, in that castle over there, we're gonna fight our first boss, but that's gonna be a bit further down the road. We gotta get beefy first, get some levels, explore the area, find some goodies. You can see a bunch of these trees. These are gonna be the minor earth trees. Some of them have a mini boss under them, some don't. We're also gonna be exploring all of them, and then you're gonna see this bigger tree. So this is going to be the actual. So all of these are minor Erd trees, and this is, well, in the game it's referred to as the Erd tree. So this is like the dad of all trees, or the mom of all trees, however you wanna call it, right? So let's go back to the beginning. So as soon as you step out of the door, you're gonna notice two things. You're gonna notice Grace and person. Uh, don't get startled. Don't You don't have to attack him. This is a friendly NPC. He's not going to be attacking you. He will be attacking you if you attack him, most likely. I've never actually tried, but he's not going to be hostile to you at this moment. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to touch the Grace, and then we're going to talk to him, see what he has to say. So, okay, let's quickly talk about this tip that the game has given us, Guidance of Grace. So as you can see, this ray, this golden ray right here, this is used in game to point you in the direction where you're supposed to go. It's not necessarily where you have to go, and we're not going to be following this golden ray all the time, but it's going to be serving us as like a general direction of where we need to end up, but it's not necessarily that you actually follow it every single time. It's not actually going to be displayed every time, so yeah, it's just used as a guideline to give you guys a sense of direction and objective. So let's talk to this guy, see what he has to say.
Oh yes, tarnished are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
Grim words to start with, but let's see if he can explain it a bit further.
Luckily for you, however, there is one shining ray of hope for even the maidenless. Me. Vare. Take care to listen. Are you familiar with grace? The golden light that gives life to you tarnished. You may also behold its golden rays, pointing in a particular direction at times. That is the guidance of grace, a path that a tarnished must travel. Indeed, grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you tarnished to the path you are meant to follow, even if it leads you to your grave. Grace's guidance will reveal the path to Castle Stormvale, over on the cliff, the home of the decrepit demigod, Godric the Drafted.
So that's all of his dialogue, and yeah, like I said, he's also going to be explaining this ray of gold. And he did mention a couple of other things. He mentioned that we don't have a maiden. It's his way of saying that we are single and alone. He also mentioned an invitation to the Round Table Hold. Round Table Hold is going to be something like a hub, like all of the Souls games have. Round Table Hold is no exception in this game, but we are going to be encountering that in a little bit as well. And we're actually going to encounter everything that he mentions pretty soon. So yeah, I am going to end this episode right here. And I think, yeah, this is probably going to be the best place to end an episode. I am very excited, guys. I am super hyped to play this game on stream / recording. Still need to figure that out. And on the next episode, we are gonna start with our exploration of this massive area, right? This is huge. And we're gonna explore it place by place. We're gonna try to cover everything. And that's pretty much it. I'm not sure how often these episodes are gonna come out, but I will try to make it into kind of like a regular upload time. Like if maybe it's gonna be once a week, maybe it's gonna be once every 2 or 3 days, but I'm gonna try to keep it as regular as possible. So thank you guys, whoever's watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.